Welcome to Aspire to Lead, where we empower educators and school leaders to grow, inspire, and thrive. I'm your host, Joshua Stamper, author, speaker, and leadership coach, bringing you conversations that spark transformation, challenge the status quo in education, and equip you to make a lasting impact on your campus or in your district. For more information and resources, visit joshstamper.com as we're looking to ascend to new leadership heights together. Aspire listeners, I am on cloud nine because I get to have my good friend Kim Gameroz back on the show after 3 years. And no, I've talked to her often, but she hasn't been on the show for 3 years. In fact, if you're watching on YouTube, I want you to make sure that you're checking out the swag that we are representing today, as we are Bison. And we're going to be talking about a beautiful event that Kim is constructing out in Anaheim coming up soon, August 1st, but then also about her brand new podcast and book that's coming out soon with Dave Burgess, a friend of the show. So with that, Kim, you are amazing. You're phenomenal at what you do. I'm so excited to get an update on what's occurring in your world, as I've seen you grow so much in the last 3 years. And I am just honored to see the work that you're doing, the impact, but then also to call you a very, very good friend.
I mean, I told you, I couldn't believe when I looked back, it had been 3 years since we recorded together. So much has happened and we have become so close. I mean, yes. I trust you with my podcast and editing. I talk to you all the time about just like, oh my God, let me get this off my chest because this, that, and the other is bothering me. What do I do? And I'm so grateful for you. Seriously.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, a lot. I mean, the last time we talked on the show, I mean, me and you grabbed coffee. We were talking, you had just really constructed a business and had a few clients. I mean, you've grown exponentially since then. I was on the campus level. I was an assistant principal at that time, and now I've transitioned to a brand new state. But yeah, a lot has changed. So Kim, give us an update because, I mean, like I said, you've got a team of folks now. I know you're traveling all over and working with a lot of schools, and we'll definitely get into kind of some of the trials and tribulations and some of the problems that you're seeing and how you are being the solution to a lot of things. But we also know that there's some specific models that are being constructed right now that are not working that we'll dive into. But I'm just curious though, will you just give an update as far as what your business looks like now and how you're supporting schools?
Yeah. So the last time we talked, I just had one business, Celebrate Good Times with SEL, and I was doing teacher retreats. We had our annual event, The Bloom. And then I was also working with schools and school districts. So I was working with individual teachers who would pay out of their teacher salary to be coached. But then I was also working with full-on schools and school districts and supporting them with all things social emotional learning and coaching. And it just got to be huge. And what I needed to do was niche down and figure out, how do I separate the two? So I separated two businesses. So Celebrate Good Times still is it's still for the women. It's still for educators who know there's got to be a better way to teach social emotional skills and not expect them. But I also now have Teaching Inside Out, where we look from the outside in, so our teachers can teach from the inside out. It's heart-centered work always, but we now have, I have 3 mentor teachers who 2 are in Southern California, one's in Utah, and I'm out here in Dallas, and we fly all over the nation. We visit schools. We work with full school districts. We kind of ask them, hey, what have you been doing for social emotional learning? It's usually some sort of, prepackaged SEL curriculum in a box. And then I say, how's it working for you? And they say, it's not working. We still have behavior referrals where teachers are unhappy. And I say, great, let me come out. I'll do a keynote. So now add that to the list of things, right? I'll come out, do a keynote, and I'll pretty much just say to teachers, who's on board, who's curious, who's open, who's ready to expand. And when you have about 150 hands go up who are all in, we say game on. And so we work with small cohorts and gradually, build something sustainable for our schools and our school districts. I also now decided to just tack on a podcast. So Unleashing the Bison is just kind of my space where I get to tell it like it is. This is what's really happening in school districts. These are the conversations that were really happening with our teachers. And what are we going to do about it? So open, honest, raw conversations over on Spotify. You talked about the book, Becoming the Bison. So still in the works, still happening, still getting edits and revisions, and cannot wait for that to be in the hands of the people. And then I also decided, why not add more to my plate, right? We're going to do teacher retreats, but we needed something bigger. Our teacher retreats for Celebrate Good Times, the Bloom, is exclusive. And so this year we're going to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It's more of like, I don't know, it's an ultimate girls trip for teachers, but we're also diving into the good stuff. And so I also, again, needed to do something for Teaching Inside Out. And I decided that, well, I cannot stand the conferences that I have seen over and over and over again. Can't stand the ballrooms, not my vibe. Cannot stand the freezing cold air conditioning. Can't stand the round tables. Can't stand the laptops open. Nobody says a word. And I'm looking at a slide deck as this presenter is going just like press the button. And there's no action afterwards. So I created my own unconference conference. This year, we're going to have our very first VIBE Edu. So I got my shirt on. It's got the bison. We are literally breaking through the glass ceiling. We are including all voices. Everybody has a seat at this table. So again, nobody ever has conferences for teachers and for principals, district leaders, your coaches, your superintendents, and also parents. And so it's especially geared towards our parents of our kiddos with autism, our neurodivergent kids. We're talking ADHD, we're talking ADD, we're talking everything. We're including everyone because this is UDL in action. We are creating a strong foundation with social emotional learning, behavior support, PBIS, MTSS. We are filling in the gaps and the cracks, the foundation. And that's what it's all about. So it's nighttime, right? Nighttime, which nobody ever does. On August 1st out in Anaheim at the Arctic. It's a beautiful dome building. We are going to decorate it, not like the fluff, not the fake, not the balloon arches. It's still the pretty. It definitely is still the pretty. But I told Josh, I told you, and I told some of our friends, our educational leaders, our male educational leaders that we hang out with. I said, this is the year of Bring On the Men. Like, I want some male voices in there, and I want everybody doing the good work. Everyone that I'm connected to. So that's happening.
Well, I'm honored to be a part of the Ben. If anyone's following me on social media, you've seen that I've been putting out content for this awesome, wonderful anti-conference, if you will, the VIBE Edu, where we've got some phenomenal folks. Kim, do you want to name drop a few people that are going to be in attendance? Or I know it's a panel, more construct. So, who's going to be speaking there?
Yeah. So our MC is Dr. Richard Warren. I adore that man. He was it Massachusetts? I would say Massachusetts Teacher of the Year a few years ago. He is doing amazing, amazing work. And he is a vibe in himself. He is just such a beautiful speaker and so inspiring. So he's our MC. I have Dr. Jamie Nyman Kimmel. So she is a board certified pediatric neuropsychologist. She is one of 10 in the state of California. She is a force. So get ready for that. She tells it like it is, and she'll blow your mind. She's an amazing human and so inspirational and so knowledgeable. My friend Jamie Rivets from Idaho, she will be there. She's a social learning expert. She used to work for Social Thinking years ago and does her own practice in Idaho. You will be there. Mitch Weathers will be there talking about executive functioning, just like Noelle Foy. We've got Diane Kay from Canada who will be there. I mean, you guys, it's the cream of the crop. Suzanne Tucker from Generation Mindful. These people are the real deal. And because I'm connected to them, I want nothing more than to connect everybody else to the good ones, just the ones that really get it and who are going to give you action steps, for the future.
I mean, a lot of folks I've connected with in the past or currently, as far as kind of listening to their message, and they're just real. They're just very transparent about who they are as an individual. And I love the crew that you've constructed for this event. Super excited to see them in person. Mm-hmm. Well, see you in person again. It's been 3 years probably since we've seen each other in person. So that'll be super fun. And of course, I have a special place in my heart as far as California. So I'm super glad to be there a couple of times this summer speaking. So I will make sure VIBE Edu, the link for folks to get more information to register will be in the show notes for you. It'll be easy as possible. I'll make sure that's also on joshtamper.com so that folks can just click on that and be part of such a amazing, powerful event. So I'm looking forward to it. So thank you for allowing me to, be a part of VIBE Edu here coming up on August 1st. All right, let's transition over to some of the things that you're doing, because like you said, you're working with schools all over, and I know that you are seeing some models of implementation that are wonderful and some that are probably hard to work through. And so where do you want to start, Kim? Do you want the perfect world or some of the missteps that you see maybe district leadership putting together and potentially the failure of implementation?
Well, let's talk about like what it should look like first, right? Take like a deep breath. I was like, oh, here we go. Let me crack the back.
Unleash the bison, Kim. Let's go.
I know. Here we go. We're unleashing. So when I come in, right, with my team, I usually ask the director of education or professional development, whoever that person is, I ask them, what is your vision, right? And usually they say something like, well, I want happy teachers. I want well-equipped teachers. I want to, if they have coaches already or TOSAs, teachers on special assignment, I want to use my TOSAs. And I say, great, we can make that happen, but you need to go slow. And so it seriously is creating this sense of top-down understanding, right? Like the district sees you teachers and wants to support you. Therefore, we hired Teaching Inside Out, Kim, mentor teachers to come in. But there also has to be this grassroots happening where the teachers have to be like, I'm excited. This is finally happening. Yep, I want it, right? You have to have both of those things. Once you have those things, then we get to create this herd, right? A group of bison that we have going, okay, we're going to meet monthly. We're going to talk through what's going on in your classrooms. We're going to give you your next best steps. I mean, there is a framework, right? You have to work through certain concepts they have to have, but you have to have intentional conversations with teachers. You can't just put up a slide deck and go, this is what we're talking about, today, and then off you go. It just doesn't work like that. I want to know what's happening with your students that you have right now. Okay, what have you tried? Okay, let's all talk about this. Okay, this is what really is missing here. These are your next steps. Go try it. And then when we meet again, we talk about how it went, what's going. There's also some sort of ongoing coaching. So I love Voxer, and I know that you do too. And when we have a small cohort or just maybe the group of coaches or whoever, we're talking with them. And every single week they are getting some sort of intention. Hey, I want you to be on the lookout for this. Hey, remember, this is our focus. I want it to look like and sound like this. Don't forget this. And so they're also getting not just monthly coaching, but weekly coaching. And also those teachers or those coaches are reflecting, and they're talking through those things every single day, all throughout the week. But the thing is, if your teachers aren't talking, or if your coaches aren't modeling, and they're not modeling that coaching, then it falls apart. It really, truly does. Then they also need some sort of in-person coaching. So it's not, again, we come out and put up a slide deck and everybody just sits at the district office and listens and they go off into their classrooms. No, like behaviors are going crazy in your classroom right now. You don't need to be out for half the day listening to me to go back to crazy. That doesn't solve the world's problem. But what does is releasing teachers out of their classrooms for a certain amount of time, talking about what's going on, going into their classrooms, and either I will take over or I will work with that teacher, with those students. We'll have teachers observing us, like a small cohort, again, a safe cohort, right, of like-minded educators where they feel like they can take risks without judgment. And maybe it's my mentor teacher and the teacher, maybe it's me full taking over. And then guess what? After a good 10 minutes, we walk out of the classroom and we debrief and we talk about what they saw and we talk about next steps, and then we do it again. And those days, Josh, I mean, those days, you've heard, we talked about it on the last podcast episode. Those days are gold for teachers. Every single time I ask them, how did you feel when you walked in? And they always say anxious, nervous, right?
Yeah.
I'm frustrated, overwhelmed. And when I ask them how they felt when they walked out, it's seen, heard, excited. overwhelmed in a good way because now I know what I'm doing and I can't wait to put it all into practice. I mean, that's the way to do it right. And then year after year, you just kind of build on that, right? Because word will start to spread. You get another group, a cohort, right? And you build this sense of grassroots really happening and we're all running together. That's the magic. That's when you're doing it right across a district.
No, I love it. And that model, I've seen her firsthand work. So I love what you're saying. I mean, that's the reason I created the relationship action team on our campus. Something that we model, both Charlie and I now, is that grassroots movement piece. Because I mean, if it's top down and you're being told what to do, we've seen it. There's animosity. There's a lot of like negative emotions that go along with that. And especially the view of it's just one more thing I got to do.
Yep.
And so let's transition then. Maybe some culture killers that you've seen. I know, I mean, throughout your time in this work, you've probably seen plenty of things that have occurred, both maybe as a teacher and on a campus or in a district previously, or what you're doing now in your own work as a, someone that goes into support. So what are some culture killers that come to mind?
Man. So we'll get usually to a point, usually around 3 years, the 3-year mark, right? Where a principal or a director or AP or assistant superintendent, whoever it is, superintendent will say like, we're done now, right? Like we've got to sustain this on our own. And listen, I need districts to be sustainable. I need to be able to walk away and go, you've got this, you're ready to fly, right? You're ready to run, keep going. But usually they end up trying to search for a solution like, okay, well, we're going to have one teacher per site, let's just say, and they're going to be our lead. Maybe if it's the lead bison, maybe it's their lead teacher, maybe it's their champion, whatever you want to call them. We're going to have this one person. Well, when it's one person, those colleagues, they go, well, you have all the answers. Come and help me. Well, if it works for you, can I just come in and watch you? Like it gets gross feeling. It feels yucky. It just creates this weird culture across that campus. And then stuff starts to fall apart. And then what do? They go, okay, well, that didn't work. So now we're going to go back to our box curriculum. I mean, I've seen that happen. Or they'll say, okay, great. Now we've created this team of leads. Now these leads are going to go into classrooms and they're going to coach our teachers. Well, no, those leads, like their job is to be a teacher. If you want them to be a coach, then that can be a new role, right? For your school district. You're going to pay them as a coach, right? And they're going to go into classrooms and run alongside teachers. Great. But if they're also going to teach all day long in their classroom, and then they're going to be tasked to go into other classrooms and coach teachers. Or I've also seen it where other teachers will just come in and observe them. And they're like signing up for time slots already for August. And I was thinking, they don't even know who their kids are. They're going to have to work through all the yuck and the systems and the strategies and the language. They're going to have to figure this out. They're going to need time. They don't need to be racing to have other people come in and observe them. That doesn't feel good either. And I think that other one, I mean, we were just talking before we pressed record was, school districts that decide they just want to go too fast and create these leads and pay them money to do all of that work. And it's like, well, they haven't even been coached yet. They don't have information. They haven't, figured out what works for them. They have no clue. And they're already getting paid to coach and lead. And oh, Josh, yeah, it's hard. It's really hard.
I'm laughing because even just the communication component of it too, and just how it's sent out as far as when the information is being sent out. Does the communication look like it's just more work? Is it something that's valuable? I mean, there's so many pieces as far as a leader. I'm looking for as far as the leadership lens and some of the missteps that I've seen personally. I know you have too, where, I mean, within the first sentence, you've turned everybody off and they don't want to know what's happening. All they think it is more work that I have to do versus this is something that's going to improve your classroom culture, learning outcomes, relationships with your kids. There's so many great things that should be coming from this initiative. And instead, it is viewed as a negative versus something that's going to be something that's really beneficial for everyone involved. So I want to talk about that communication piece. You had said something earlier in regards to language being used. I know terms like classroom management and, things like consequences or punishment. And, there's a lot of things that are associated with the work that you do. I know for you, I mean, is that one of the first steps as far as it being a universal and standard language that's being used that needs to be taught? And then also something that's standard moving forward as the school year progresses?
It's always about a mindset shift first with
Mm,
teachers. Because
yeah.
right now, when you're talking about your principals, your district leaders, they're trying to put out a plan for consequences always, right? When I walk in and it's August, I'm like,
Yeah.
how you guys feeling? And the teachers always go, well, we just learned what our new, punishment plan is or the
Yeah.
consequences, and there's no consequences, Kim. So what do we do? And they're coming in hot, right? Like
Yeah.
every time.
Behavior matrix. That's
Yes. Yes. We just looked at our behavior matrix, Kim. Yeah. And they're all upset, right? And they're like, and now we can't bench them. We can't take away their lunch. And they're all pissed. And I'm like, you guys, okay, hold on. First of all, we need to remember that you need to teach social and emotional skills. You can't expect them. Okay. And then they go, that's interesting. I like that. Let me take a picture of that. I mean, we got stickers, we got all the things to give the teachers to remind them of that. But again, you can't punish the bad behavior out of a kid.
well, you
What are you
can't
going to
punish
do?
new skills either.
No, you can't. You
Yep.
can't. And we always talk about how it's learning, right? And for some of our kids, it's going to take a lifetime for them to learn. By the end of the school year, we want to see growth, right? We definitely want to see growth, but is everybody going to like grow together? Like you'd like that in a perfect world, but like you work with kids, you work with people, right? So I think it's definitely the mindset shift first. And it's the understanding of like, no one is going to change your classroom except for you. And you can only control you, your tone, your tempo, your choices, the way you model strategies for yourself, for your students. I mean, it's a you thing. And then it's kind of like oh crap, it's a me thing.
Yeah, so I mean, there's the control piece, right? I mean, all educators love control, and we can only control so much. I can't control even my own kids. You saw firsthand today. I can't control my kids, but I can put guidelines there and set them up, hopefully for success. But I mean, in reality, it's up to them. And so, for our teachers, we have to understand that, we have control on how we react and how our emotions are being regulated and the things that are constructed in our classroom and our environment and the strategies and things that we have put in place. So yeah, I always, as an administrator would try my very, very best to communicate, like, what is it that you have control over? Let's focus on that versus the things that you don't have control over, like the environment that they go home to every night. I don't have control over that. So let's focus on the 8 hours that we do have them in our possession, right? Let's control that. Let's focus on that. With that, I want to talk about some of the things that you've got. We just touched on it a little bit, but you've got a lot of opportunities for folks to tap into your resources. So what are some of the things that you provide to school districts? Because I really want folks to understand that you do a lot of work. If someone's like, a school leader right now, discipline was off the chain last year, and I need things to improve. The discipline matrix that we have and the punishments that we were putting forth didn't enhance learning at all. In fact, we got worse behaviors because of the traditional practices that we have. So what are some of the things that you provide to school districts?
Yeah. So if it's an individual school, I love a good individual school, right? And usually what'll happen is I'll partner you up with other individual schools who want to do this work because you need to run with somebody. You need a herd. You can't just be in your own little silo, even like at your school district. You can't be like a one school district. You got to have your people. And so I love hooking them up together, monthly Zoom sessions, talking with a small cohort. So as a leader, as a principal, you get to decide who your crew is, right? These are people who we talk about. They've got to have the core. They've got to be curious, open, and ready to expand. That's your CORE. That's what we're looking for. And when you get a good group, maybe like 4 or 5 teachers, we partner you up. And then we'll meet on Zoom every single month. We'll talk about the systems and strategies that are going to help support you as a teacher, but also from the lens of a principal, what that common language or common systems look like across your campus so that everybody's speaking the same language and everybody is equipped. Then we also, depending on budget's always a thing. We love coming out and supporting our teachers in their classroom. So just like that model before, we'll pull the cohort out. We'll get to talk through things, go into their classrooms together, try things out together, and then debrief afterwards. So we love like coming out 2 times during the school year, once at the beginning, once towards the end. And yeah, those monthly Zooms are absolute gold. We can do the same sort of model if it's a school district, and we'll just
Right.
create what that cohort is, depending on number of schools or teachers who just are all in. Maybe I come out and do a keynote or a PD and we pull from there to get them excited. We love doing that. But then also, I mean, that's all through teaching inside out. But there's always teachers who are a party of one
Yeah.
at their school site and they're like, but I need support. And
Mhm.
those are the teachers I absolutely love, that I love to pour into. And again, there's a place for you at Celebrate Good Times. So if you're looking for, give me a framework, Kim, like I can't maybe afford to be coached or be part of a community. I get it. Teacher salary, like you got to save
Totally.
your pennies. And I totally understand that. But if you're looking for an easy way to get a little bit of something, we do have a year of SEL, which is your month by month framework. It includes anchor charts, which everybody loves, and it's super easy, right? Picture books, phrases, strategies, systems, but in a month by month order. So you can get your, bite-sized pieces of things that are actually going to create calm in your classroom. And then we always open up doors to our community. We open them up twice during the school year. So we just closed them. We have our new cohort. They're incredible humans. My God. And the amount of veteran teachers who have said to me,
Yeah.
I don't want to go out the same way I came in. I want to leave this profession knowing that I did everything I possibly could to better my students and better myself. I mean, I've chills. The amount of teachers this time around who have said that to me, they are so good. So our doors usually open in the summertime, then they close, and then they'll open again halfway through the school year. So like around the holidays, right? Around
Sure.
like holiday break, we'll open them up again because teachers feel lonely when they have
Yeah.
that mindset, when they already get it, they get the behaviors. They've read your book, right? They've read Language of Behavior. They've read all of these books and they're like, yeah, this makes so much sense. They're the rare
Mhm.
ones. And again, I mean, those are the ones that belong part to the community. They belong
Yeah,
at VIBE Edu. Those are the teachers that we're looking for, the real ones,
for
So
sure.
there's always opportunities. Again, 2 different paths. If you're an individual teacher, it's always Celebrate Good Times. And then if you are a district leader, a principal, if you're looking, district wide, something like that, it's always Teaching Inside Out for bigger.
Yeah. No, I love it. Yeah. Doesn't matter where you're coming from. There's a spot for you. And like Kim was sharing, I mean, there's a ton of resources that she has to offer for you. Let's talk about the other things that we touched on a little bit. You obviously, what are you in episode 9 coming out soon for your brand new podcast?
That's
So
exciting.
it's very exciting. I love the content. You had quickly mentioned that I have a small part in this beautiful project with Aspire Media. Will you just share your vision as far as why you wanted the podcast to exist and kind of what your goal or vision for the future of that beautiful project?
Yeah. So I had been writing a book, Becoming the Bison, which was all
Yep.
about who I needed to become as a teacher, as a district leader, as an entrepreneur, as a mother, as a wife, like all of these roles that we have. I needed to let go of a lot and relearn and become this next version of myself to head into the storms that are always coming in life. So thus became Becoming the Bison. And when I was writing, I just spilled out my guts. And so DBC got to literally read my guts, all like the good, the bad, the ugly. They read it all. And they're like, Kim, like maybe we need to like pull in here and tweak this. And I was like, okay. I got it. I get it. I can definitely do that. But there was definitely part of me that was like, but I got to talk about the stuff that's really going on. I'm going to
Yeah.
burst if I don't talk about it. And I know that my mentor teachers, they felt the same way. And I said to them, okay, we're just going to do it. We're just going to have a podcast. Like I have to. And there's so many times, Josh, where we would get on Voxer and we would leave like, 5-minute, 7-minute, 8-minute messages back and forth. And I was like, well, this could have been a podcast every time. And so it just kind of got to a point where I don't even know how it happened. I think we were talking and then you had offered, well, I could with Aspire Media, I could support you. And I was like, well, I would love to be supported. Nobody ever supports me. I support people. And so when
I'm
you
here
said
for you,
that,
Kim.
I know. I was like, fine. Yes. Oh my God. Yes, please. And so you've been able to give it life. And I can't believe you just said 9 episodes. That's really cool. Yeah. I can't wait to see
And
what
there's more coming because you are recording all the time. And yeah, it's such a joy to hear those conversations, even raw. And I love the little messages like, hi, Josh, cut that out, please. That's in there too. That always puts joy in my heart. But yeah, I mean, I think folks by now, I don't know if you saw, Kim, that I've hit 8 years for the podcast, May. And podcasting has been a joy for me, but I also get bored of things. So I like to switch it up a little bit, which Aspire Media kind of helps with that itch. So I get to coach and edit some wonderful podcasts out there. So yours being one of them. And I'm so excited. And I love your heart. I love how real it is. I love the conversations that a lot of podcasts won't touch that you guys are like, nope, this is reality. This is what we're dealing with. And, these are our experiences and viewpoints on how to fix it. And I think if anyone's listening right now, like right away, jump on Spotify, push the follow, subscribe, whatever Spotify has as far as their verbiage, but make sure that you're checking that out. It's bi-weekly. And Kim does an absolutely wonderful job. And I'm just honored to be a part of that project. So with that, you had touched on the book. It's got to be coming out soon, right?
Lord help me. So
Did I just cut a vein? Do I need to retract my question?
I have been back and forth it's been almost a year since I was told that it was going to be actually something that you can hold in your hands. And so nobody ever really told me. I guess I was kind of told. A few friends who are authors had told me, it takes longer than you think. It takes longer than you think. And so that's just kind of where I'm sitting. And it was interesting because I knew I was sitting on VIBE Edu about a year ago. And I didn't even want to put that into the universe until I knew the book was going to be published on whatever date, because I wanted it in my brain, it had to be there. It had to be at the Bloom in Wyoming. It had to be there in the hands of the people at VIBE Edu. And it got to a point that it doesn't really take long with me. I always need to take action. I kind of went, nope. Nobody is going to say, okay, Kim, now you can have a conference. Nobody's coming down to with their magic wand and saying, now is the time, Kim, you're granted time to create this. And so I just was like, the people need this. The people need something that feels good, where they're going to meet amazing humans who know their shit, and they're going to walk away going, okay, yeah, I feel incredible. I know I have more people to run with. I've got, action steps. And so anyways, that's why VIBE Edu really came to be, was because I was waiting on the book.
Well, I'm glad you didn't wait. And you are one to take action. I've seen that firsthand many, many times. And yeah, for anyone that has listened to an author speak, the book process is huge. It's literally a marathon. It's not a sprint. So yeah, I totally get that. So as soon as it comes out, that I'm going to share it and scream it from the mountaintops here in Colorado that Kim has a wonderful resource for folks to make sure that they tap into. So we will be looking out for that as soon as it's available. I will have my copy in hand. I will be posting it on social media. I will be talking about it on my podcast again for folks to make sure that they grab it. So the book, Becoming the Bison, is the title.
That's it.
And we're hoping as soon as possible for this resource to be out in the hands of folks. And I know it's going to make a huge difference and impact in the lives of our educators. Super excited for you, Kim. So congrats on that. Congrats on the podcast.
Thank you.
The growth that you are seeing. And for those who are listening, because Kim, I always love having an actionable item for folks, right? So whoever's listening from our conversation, if there's something they could do tomorrow, next week, over the summer to enhance their leadership journey, do you have any wise words for them to follow?
100%. Find your people. And I'm telling you, whether it's people that you follow just on Instagram and you're inspired by them, or you're the person to, again, take action and slide into their DMs and connect with them, schedule a Zoom with somebody. If it's just listening to a podcast, right? Listen to Unleashing the Bison. Know that you have a herd to run with. You can't do work. You can't do life alone. You can't teach alone. You can't lead alone. And so you need to find your herd. You need to find your people. And again, that's why I'm so happy that I am connected to you. You are for sure my people. And
No,
VIBE EDU, I know, is going to be, again, a space where people get to be connected to even more of their people.
We got connected through Kevin Butler, right?
I think so. I love Kevin.
And he's our people too. So
yes,
that's how it works. Your people connect you to other like-minded folks, and then you get this herd like you're talking about. So love it. All right. Well, I'm honored. I mean, you're making me blush over here with those kind of words, and just so thankful for you, the work that you're doing, but then also just the impact that you've made on my life. I'm so excited to see you in person. I'm so excited to be a part of this VIBE EDU movement that'll be hopefully annual that folks can, jump into every year. I think the timing is perfect too. I mean, right at the beginning of August, I know we're going to launch people into the new school year just with a revival and an energy that they haven't felt before. So just to see that firsthand is going to be incredible. So for those who are listening, make sure you're jumping in the show notes, click in that link to register. And I promise you, it's going to be such a wonderful experience for you, one that you won't forget. And so with that, Kim, thank you so much for joining me on Aspire to Lead and just being a fantastic human being.
You're the best.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. Explore more podcasts at www.teachbetterpodcastnetwork.com. We'll see you on the next episode.